Morning YouTube. I am off out on a little errand, but what I'm going to do while we're out is we're going to stop off and I'm going to show you back in my van. Just give you a bit of a van tour, show you around it and talk you through what I did and why I did it. So the idea of this van, when I bought a van, it was never actually to make it into a camper or a day van or ever. I wanted it basically just to transport my mountain bikes and my dog. It's a bit of a lifestyle, make it easy for you type vehicle. But as I sort of did more to it, I always intended to insulate it, you know, if you wanted to kip in back of it with your bike, you know, so it would certain degree of comfort, not just ply lined like a workman's van, which it were when I bought it. But as it evolved, it sort of evolved into something quite a bit more than that, and I've ended up putting more time, effort and money into it than I originally intended. I've done a lot on outside with, you know, snazzy bits and nice wheels and stuff, and I'll cover all that in a separate video. But I wrestled with a lot, what am I actually going to do? I've got a certain degree of space, and how can I use that most efficiently, and what's going to work best for me. So I'm going to talk you through why I basically did what I did, and I hope you find it useful, because I find it, I mean, yeah, you've got your rock and roll beds and your units outside and your leisure batch, all that kind of thing, but I wanted something a bit different from your standard layout, and this is what I came up with. See what you think. Right, Bulkhead. First thing you'll notice is I've still got half of mine. Now obviously, common thing is just to whip it all out, whip all fixings out. Looks nice and neat and tidy, brilliant. I decided not to do that. And I mentioned earlier, I've got my dog in here, I've got muddy mountain bikes in here. So what I didn't want that basically knackering my seats. So what I did, Bulkhead comes in two parts, overlays and all bolts together. What I did, took the top section out, took the bottom section out, and then when I carpeted, all the fixing points, all the threads, just the two pieces overlap, slit them off, angle grinder, slitting disc, slit them off, ground it back nice and smooth, carpeted over it, just so it looks nice and neat and tidy, and stays, you know, keeping the rest of the van. You've just got black metal, you don't really want that, and then just bolted it back on through the carpet after I carpeted it. Just standard carpet, use glue that came with carpet. Bob's your uncle. One downside is that obviously no swivel seat. What we found when we are camping, if we were able to swivel that, it would make a hell of a lot more space, and you've got a surface to sit on, eat tea on, blah blah blah. So that is the trade-off, is that it sort of blocked off the opportunities to put a swivel seat in. But it's an everyday vehicle, it's my van, I'm to work in this, I put my bikes in it, my dog in it, so this was the more practical solution for us. So it's dead easy to do with just 10mm bolts. Off with gun, no problem. Dead easy. So yes, it's not your standard camper, so it's a bit unorthodox, but yeah, works for me. Windows. Right, I didn't fit these. There were absolutely not a cat in hell's chance I were going to cut an hole inside of my van. That's, no, it's just never going to happen. So I had them done professionally. So I've got this one, this is behind the driver's side. Sliding window for ventilation, so when we're cooking we don't have to necessarily open doors if it's cold weather, things like that. Barn doors done. I had barn doors done really more for drivability. We'd already got rear view mirror, so it just made sense to put them in, and it does make a massive difference having rear windows, you know, especially I would say more on motorway drive when you're reversing your car parks like that. It has got rear parking sensors, this, but it does make a hell of a lot of difference and make it a lot easier to drive. If you've got rear windows, definitely. But these brilliant, it's tinted glass, sliding windows. I've got on the sliding door, I've just got a fixed one. They're a fair bit cheaper. If you just have a fixed pane rather than a sliding pane, they are a lot cheaper. But I wanted this for ventilation. If I do need to leave dog in van, I always crack this. I can even reach around and do it from driver's seat just to crack it open. If I'm, bobbed at shop in summer, we've been out for a walk or something like that, I can just crack that so it gets nice cool air through. It's lovely, but yeah, I would not even entertain cutting a hole inside of my van. A lot of people on YouTube are doing it, and to be honest, it does look quite straightforward, but I just ain't got the skill, competence or bravery to do that. Right, sound deadening. Some people say this is a luxury. I've seen, a lot of van places offer this as an upgrade, but I sound deaden my van, and I used silent coat. I think I used 80 sheets of silent coat in all, which did all the sides, the door, the roof, and I didn't put any up floor. That's the floor's just got insulation, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But I think it makes a difference. I can't remember what it cost. Maybe, I can't remember. And it's a bit of a fiddly job, or it can be. It's a bit of a monotonous job, but it's well worth doing. I'm not taking a sound meter or anything to it, but I think if you've got sound deadening, and being in other people's vans, if you've got sound deadening, couple your insulation, your carpet, things like that, it does make a big difference. Now this van's full, it's completely, when I first stripped it out, and it was completely bare, no ply, just literally as it came out of the factory, it was very, very noisy. It's not noisy anymore. So if you're thinking about, you're just dismissing sound deadening, I wouldn't. I mean, there's loads of different products. Kira vans do their own products. Dodo, they do a product, Dynamite, Bryu Silent Coat. They all do the same thing. I don't think brand's really relevant, but as a recommendation, absolutely. Take half a day, a Sunday afternoon or whatever, to do your van, because I think it makes a big difference. Yeah. Right, insulation. Obviously I can't show you this because I've finished my van, so it's all behind me carpet and my ply. So I use 7mm, like the silverback, silver-backed 7mm foam. Again, shoved all that straight on top of me sound deadening as a base layer. Certain areas like this area that hasn't really got a recess, I sort of doubled up, so I turned it into a 14-inch layer, and you still got that little cavity behind the board, so that should work well. And the recommendation I used, what did I use? Dodo Mats, their product. But again, there's loads of different ones you can pick. They all do the same job. Said the actual product said you could layer it up and it works, doubles efficiency or something like that. Brilliant. That's what I did. And having kipped out this during summer in coolish kind of weather. I think last time I kipped out in it was maybe end of September. Just keep me warm. So in addition to that, I did the entire van, did the roof, and then the cavity, so down around the wheel arches and the doors, I just filled that with recycled plastic. So like the house insulation, I got the B&Q's version of that, dial. It's a lot cheaper. I looked at Dodo Mats product, and I think that was like 30 quid a roll at the time. Went to B&Q at 18 quid. And I used maybe 1.5 rolls, 2 rolls, something like that. I've still got a little bit left over in garage. But it works. Insulate your van. Now I've not insulated my cab, and that's going to be like the next step. What I want to do is kind of make it semi-winter capable, if you like. So none of the cab is lined, sound deadened or insulated, none of the doors. We're going to do the doors because I want to do a speaker upgrade me door speakers. So when we get the door cards off and do all of that, we'll change the speakers for some pumping speakers, and we'll see what we can get in there in terms of sound deadening. It won't be a problem, but I don't know how much space we'll have in for insulation. We'll do that, and then at a later date we'll think about doing the actual cab itself. But I want to make it so it's going to perform in winter as well. Summer, absolutely brilliant. Sort of late, maybe springtime, even into early autumn, it'd be absolutely brilliant. I've no heater in here at the minute, and when you're under a duvet, I think it's absolutely fine. So well worth doing your van, insulating your van. Yeah, so I use 7mm foam, so like the silverback foam, and then you just recycle house insulation. Works a treat. Dead simple. Didn't have to go too elaborate with it. Just whack it on, stick it on. An idiot like me can do it, so I'm sure you can do it. So yeah, give it a whirl. Carpet, not my kind of job this. You need a lot of patience. Looking back, if there's one, I know I had my windows done professionally. If there were one job that I would have should have really handed over to a professional, not that I've done a bad job with it, but maybe think about it. I mean, if you want really super neat and tidy, it's up to you. I wouldn't go in close on my carpeting, especially because I had the windows done first. And that what trickiest bit really, doing round windows. Once you get everything off for your ply, doing your ply, I got all new ply boards, all these new ply boards that were custom cut to fit. Back in them was like back in a school book. No problem, spray glue on, lay it on, smooth it all out, fold it over, easy peasy. Did all of that, not a problem. But the actual metal work inside, that were a bit trickier. So big pieces, try not to get too much joints, but round the windows, because I put the windows in first, that's probably not the way to do it. I would, and I've seen a lot of, I think this is basically how pros do it, they'll cut the window out, then carpet the van, then stick the window on, and that's how you get, and you can just tuck it all in nicely before you put your window on, get that nice finish. That is absolutely the way to do it. Now, I were on my driveway doing it, and I did it over, you know, course of a few months really, just did it bit by bit, tried not to swear too much, and it's all right, you know. A few people have said it, you know, it does look neat. Now you've got stuff in as well, it sort of hides a few sins and things like that. But yeah, take your time with it. This is easy liner carpet in graphite colour. I was going to go anthracite, that shade darker, but I went for graphite end, and I think that was right choice. This is dark, but it's not too dark, because I like pitch darkness when I'm sleeping. And it's nice, dead easy to do. It's 4-way stretch, you can stretch it any way you want. You can compensate for mistakes, things like that. And I just cut it with Stanley knife basically. Blunt your blades quick though, so make sure if you're going to use a Stanley knife, make sure you've got plenty of blades. And then just carpeted it up basically and stick it on. I bought a pack from Harrison's, so I bought, I think I just bought 20 meters. I bought loads, I've still got loads left, basically to compensate for mistakes. So if anyone wants any carpet, let me know, you can have it free to a good home. I've got maybe, I don't know, 3 meters left and some decent size offcuts. And then I bought the carpet and the glue. It's basically like aerosol PVA, you know, stuff you used to peel off your fingers at school, that kind of stuff, and it sticks pretty well. It's not going to come off. Yeah, and it does a nice job. I think if I did a second van, I'd make a lot better job of it. But don't be scared of it. Have a go. If you are kind of a patient person, you shouldn't have any problems with this. So yeah, crack on. Right, flooring. So as you can see, disclaimer, I did not copy this, any Mevy fans out there, I did not copy this off Mevy. Yeah, completely independent. I saw his video on his floor after I'd put this down, so I didn't copy him. So this is basically just, it's vinyl on top of ply. So I bought a new ply floor, pre-cut ply floor, screwed that in, using whatever screws I used. Fixed that in, got that all that nice and neat and tidy. Then I didn't buy the vinyl just off a roll. I actually bought it cut to the shape of the van floor. So I did this during lockdown. I figured I've got plenty of beer money spare, so I'm not going to pub back in April. It would have cost me, I think, about 40 quid to buy it. And I think it cost me 70 quid shipped to get it pre-cut to the van, so I treated myself. Bought some ply floor adhesive and basically just stuck it down. I had to trim it because I carpeted my wheel arch, insulated and carpeted my wheel arches. I'd added about 10mm there, just with the depth. So I've got basically just needed to trim it round the wheel arches. But apart from that, dead easy. Put it down, put it in place, stuck it down in the middle, went right edges, not a problem. You'll notice I've kept my load rings though. And again, I've mentioned for practicality, I get my bikes in here, I've got my dog in here. So I still wanted to basically be able to utilise this as a van if I needed to. So I kept my load rings. Got some plastic trim covers. They're sort of like the ones that you get in like the combi version that come out, you know, standard VW combi. Just neatens it up a bit. Cut the hole out in, I mean the Chem pre-cut for the floor Chem pre-cut with holes for the load rings, but I just had to jigsaw them out a little bit more just to get the trim to fit. It looks a lot nicer. Put the trim in, then just bolt it through the trim, no problem. So when all this comes out, and I can basically just use it as a van if I want to. So keeping the low rings, I can strap stuff down, I can just keep it as if it were a normal van. What they are brilliant for as well, you're on a campsite with a dog, and said dog needs to be kept on a lead, which mine absolutely does. We just bought like a 10-foot lead, clip it onto your load ring in your van, instead of having to screw one of those stakes in ground or keep an eye on your dog. Clip it onto that, clip it onto a collar. She's got loads of room to walk around, sticks with van, and she's on lead, and you just clip it onto one of these. So it's going to come up, clip it onto that, no problem at all. So keeping them in has been dead handy. Obviously you wouldn't do this if you were doing a full-on camper van, but as I said, this is not quite a full-on camper van. So I've still got all the functionality that I had when it was a standard van. So if you're not going full camper, I highly recommend doing that, and you can still make it look nice and neat and tidy. Right, the bed, pull-out bed. Lots of designs for these on YouTube, a lot of people building these, and I basically just straight copied them. I'm going to do a separate video on this and go into detail on it about what I did, what materials I used, but it's superb. It's a bit heavy, so in terms of materials, maybe I could use different materials, I don't know, but I'm not slim, and I need some support. We did a 6-night camping trip this summer on this bed, me and my missus and the dog. Absolutely no problem at all. Dead practical, pushes back in, so you've still got space, you can get out and cook, no problem. Foam on it, so I've got 5 inches of foam. 3 inch of that is just basically bog standard high density foam, and then I've got a 2-inch memory foam topper. It's just bonded together into one piece. At the minute, I would like to get these upholstered, but at the minute they're basically just bog standard bed sheets wrapped up, which are a bit too big, but again, they work no problem. Whack a duvet on, a couple of however many pillows you want. Looks brilliant. It's brilliant for chilling out, love it. I even sometimes go and lay in it in back at van in summer. Yes, I do that. I get laughed at, but it's my space, and when you've got bed out, it turns it into it's a nice place to be. Really comfortable, plenty of room for a dog because it's quite long. I think I made it, I think it's 183 centimeters long, which is, I think, is bang on 6 foot. And then I had a bit of space at the end, so the cupboard at the end where my leisure battery is, and I'll show you that in a sec, it basically acts as an extension to the bed. So I think all in all, this side, I think it's something like 210, maybe a bit more, 215 centimeters, so you've got plenty of room. Dog can put bottom, absolutely brilliant. Done a couple of one-nighters in it. I've top and tail with a mate in it, and he's heavier than me. not mentioning any names, but absolutely no bother. You're probably getting on for 30 stone on it that night. Absolutely brilliant. Only thing I might have done different is I just put bog standard wooden slats on the top. A lot of people use the bed slats they get from IKEA with the curving and stuff like that, and apparently that is a lot comfier. But with this foam, for a one night, I mean, we did 6 nights on it and didn't have any problems at all. So I would highly recommend getting as thick a foam as you possibly can. Only thing is, I've maybe made it a bit too high. I wanted plenty of space underneath, thinking, well, I don't need space above me because that's just wasted storage. But the only downside to that is when it's pulled in and I sit on it to cook, I have to unchover a bit. So I maybe would have knocked 2 or 3 inches off it in hindsight. But flip side of that is I have a lot of storage underneath. So with regards to storage, I've not put an end on it because I can basically just open my back door, slide stuff in. Got my bike pump, I think that's a camp bed actually. Got a few other bits down there, my screen cover. Again, if I want to go and buy a wardrobe from IKEA, practicality, shove it in, bang. I did look at having a 3/4 rock and roll, not 3/4, full width rock and roll bed. And for £1,000 and the amount of space it wouldn't took up in the back, and it would have been fixed in. I don't know why you do that. Get one of these or build yourself one of these. And as I said, I'll go into a bit more detail in a separate video about exactly how I did it. But if you want to know how to build one of these, I highly recommend you look at YouTube. He's phenomenal. He's creative, self-build creativity is phenomenal. Definitely check him out. Floor and the Novice Explorers, check them out. They basically gave me inspiration to do this. So cheers. And check their channel. It's a phenomenal YouTube channel, best channel on YouTube. Watch it. And they go into a bit more depth, which I will do at some point. But if you're thinking about one of these, have a crack. I've never done anything like this before, and it turned out pretty well for me anyway. So definitely have a go. Right, electrics. So we'll start with the battery. Firstly, it's flat, so I can't actually demonstrate. I didn't realise this. I don't think there's any charge in my battery. So I can't demonstrate any of my electrics working. But basically I've got an 85 amp hour leisure battery, which is more than enough for what I need. That routes through. I've got a fuse box in the back of there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not an electric. This is very, very basics. Electrical stuff. I am no way going to tell anybody what to do with electrics at all. Got an earth box in there, but got a fuse box at the back of there. I've got 4 spotlights in the ceiling, and I've got sort of USB charging points, 12-watt socket charging point, charge your phone. That's all I really need. I am going to beef up these electrics because I want to use 5 amp wire to these, and I want to basically get a cooler that I can just a little cooler, 12-watt cooler that I can plug into that in summer, just to keep your pint of milk cool and stuff when you're camping. But I'm gonna have to beef it up a bit. So this cupboard will be coming out at some point over winter. Redoing some stuff, just making it a bit more robust, and yeah, it's pretty simple really. But I only really need it to drive my spotlights. My spotlights in the roof, I just cut them out into the ply, set them in, ran the wires behind the panels and stuff. I had to drill a couple of holes just so I didn't, just to keep it all nice and neat and tidy and covered up. And then it just runs back of that, behind that ply panel, into the fuse box and into the earth box. So dead simple. And then I've just got, as I said, USBs here, and I've got a USB socket right at the back. So I've got an LED strip that runs around the bottom of the bed, so just for some night lighting under bed. So if it's dark, you can see it and you need to get some out of storage, you can just flick it on and see what you're doing. But yeah, very, very, very basic stuff. No water pumps, things like that. I don't have running water in here. Inverters, split chargers, inverters, none of that. I'm not really interested in any of that. It's just I want to power some lighting and be able to power my devices, power my tablet, so I can watch a film at night or whatever when I'm camping. So that does me. People say, why don't you get a split charger, blah blah blah, but I don't know, I just don't need it. I can take my battery out. One thing I've got for charging is this baby. 10 watt portable solar panel. Just crimp it on. You can also use this for jump starting your car, so it's handy in that respect. Sunny day, sucker it onto windscreen, and it just puts a little bit of charge back, just basically stops you running your battery down quite as quickly. So yeah, definitely about 30 quid off Amazon. Definitely recommend getting one. I think get 20 watt ones as well. That does all right. Just keeps it topped up a little bit. Yeah, so very basic electrical setup. All this comes out as well. I can just unclip a few wires and it'll all slide out again, so we can, you know, use it as a van. Right, so the kitchen. Essentially, this is just a cupboard with a flat top. This was designed around basically what space we had left over from the bed. So the main aim with the design of the bed was just to make it as comfy as possible, use as much space as we needed to, and then we'd fit everything else around it. So with this is what space we had left. This is what I came up with. So it's basically flat top, just a standard dual hob camping stove, nothing fancy, nothing campervan specific, and a couple of cupboards. So I'll just flip them down, just on an hinge. Down there, got my gas bottle up there, got some specific storage for mugs and things like that, and then just round the wheel arch at the bottom, extra storage, and that's all it is really. Nothing fancy, just a touring hob. Again, I'm not cooking gourmet meals on this. Cup of tea, bacon sandwich, bit of pasta, you know, whatever. I've got a Ridge Monkey, get one of them. If you're a toasted sandwich fan, definitely get a Ridge Monkey. They are superb. Whack that on it, brilliant. Just for making a snack, cup of tea when you're off biking, or a bacon sandwich when you get back, whack a few sausages on it. That's all I'm interested in. Bit of extra space here. This is all going to be painted as well at some point. I'll make a video on that. It could be a bit, try and make it Bob Ross style. Bed's going to be painted, kitchen will be painted. Still some discussion of around what colour it's going to be. Not sure. Trying to keep it neutral, or neutralist type colour. Don't know what that's going to be yet. But yeah, just designed around what space we had left with the bed. Just with some very basic and rudimentary cooking equipment. And it works absolutely fine, absolutely no bother at all. Plenty of storage in here, keep mugs and stuff safe, no bother at all. So that is my van. You'd agree it's quite basic, but it works. You don't have to spend boatloads of money on it, or it's just time and effort, patience. I think that's the most difficult part of it. But if you like what you've seen, I've got loads more videos coming up. Next one's probably going to be outside, so I want to talk about my modifications, what I did, you know, why I went with certain tyre sizes, blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff. So if you like that, if you're into your customising, stay tuned with that. I'm try and do some detailing stuff as well, because that's something I've got into since I bought the van, clay bar and all that kind of thing. And as I learn more things about that, I'm going to try and talk about that as well. But please like it if you like it. If you don't, please like it. Subscribe, and yeah, lots more coming. Thanks for watching. Cheers.